Hey everyone, today I'm creating 24 cards using a card sketch from Call Me Crafty. This is the January 2026 sketch, and I'm part of the creative team where we all use the same sketch to create a whole bunch of different projects. I highly recommend you check out the playlist below, and so you can see what the other creative team members have done with the same sketch. I'm going to use the P13 Into the Woods paper pad today, and then some of these backing panels here in the brown, black and craft, and I've got some pre-done sentiments. At this stage of doing the project, I really wasn't sure what I was going to use, but I always pull out a few options and then I have them all over my desk so that when I'm actually creating the cards, I can run through and pick out what I think is going to work. So sometimes what you see at the start of the video is not what I end up using at the end, but I'm showing you what I thought I was going to use at this point. Just showing you the paper pad here. This one has 24 sheets of double-sided, and it basically has 4 of each of the pieces of paper. So plenty of them where I can make the choice to use one side versus the other and really mix things up a little bit so that I'm using all of the different designs of the paper pad, or at least the ones that suit the design of the cards I'm creating. The paper pad has the front cover and the back cover that have some printed ephemera. You do need to fussy cut them out or use a scan and cut or something similar. And it has one set of the paper design that has some cut apart. So you saw me just cut through a couple of those. And I am going to use maybe a few of them today, but not as many as I originally thought, just because of the card design. Now, this sketch has one main pattern paper element, and then it has a backing panel that is 5 1/4 by 4. And I decided that rather than putting a really interesting piece of pattern paper onto a plain background, I would try and use as much of the pattern paper as possible. But it was a little bit tricky because this is very busy paper. So even these ones like these berries that are in sort of a monotone, it's very busy paper. So I'm not a huge fan of using lots of busy papers together. So I used quite a few different strategies to try and separate the papers, and I'll run you through those and the decisions that I made along the way. Now you can see here I've got some, I guess it's, I don't know what to call it. It's tape that does not damage the paper, so I can remove it easily, so removable tape. And I'm attaching that once I do the first cut and then moving the piece of paper to the side, attaching it together and doing the second cut. Now, I used a blue pen to mark the 2-inch mark on my 6x6 paper pieces, and it didn't show up when I was making the cards, which is great, but I highly recommend using like a grey lead or something you can remove if your pattern paper is not as busy as this one. Now that I've gone through and just figured out, okay, I'm going to cut down one of each pattern paper design into the elements, so the pieces on the left-hand side, I then decided rather than trying to get too coordinated with this at the beginning, I was just going to go through and be pretty brutal in my choices to cut down the pattern papers to 4 inches by 5 1/4 for the backing panels that I mentioned earlier. This means that at this point in creating the cards, I have no clue what any of them are going to look like, but I did decide that some of the papers themselves, they just do not show up enough or have a separate enough like color. So I have this shimmer chocolate colored cardstock, and this is actually really quite heavy cardstock. And I just matted the panel on 2 sides, and I picked the 2 sides that were not the corner, if that makes sense. So no matter where I put this on the paper, I've got the bit that's going to have the matted layer is going to be in the middle of the card. Now, originally when I was planning out what I was going to do with my pattern papers, I realized pretty quickly that I would need to have papers that were not showing one direction if I planned on attaching the piece of pattern paper in the same spot every time. Now, the sketch has a recommended positioning or a recommended layout. I actually focused more on what direction are the butterflies or what directions are like the animals or the mushrooms or whatever the design is that I was trying to match up. And then I chose an appropriate position on the card. So in some instances, you will see that I'm actually using landscape cards per the original sketch, even though the shape of the pattern paper will move around the design. And in other instances, I actually do create some portrait cards today. So they are a definite mix and jumble, and you could see from those two that the pattern paper's lined up differently. I also got out some of my craft foam and I decided to create a little bit of height because I thought that might help a little bit with separating the pattern papers. And you can see here I'm actually using my scissors to ruffle the edges. So on probably 4 or 5 of the cards, I did actually do this where I went around the edge and I just roughed it up a little bit with my scissors. And so in real life, it actually does create a little bit of separation of the papers. So when you're layering them on top of each other, without needing to put a matting layer, you can actually have the pattern papers work together a little bit more easily. And with this one, I've decided to not only ruffle the edges, but also put some of the craft foam behind, which means it definitely lifts it up off the card and creates just a little bit of a shadow, which works really, really nicely on the cards. Now I'm running through and showing you not all of the cards, but a few of them, and I use the same techniques repeatedly. That is, I either add a matting layer for some separation, and in most instances that is either black or the chocolate brown. And in fact, in some instances, I also use the craft. So the backing panels that I had on the left-hand side, I ended up using those for matting layers rather than backing panels, which was not the intended use, but because I knew they matched the 6x6 pattern paper, I was able to just work out how to use what was on my desk to get the outcome that I was looking for. So the other trick with this was, as I said, because the pattern papers were quite busy, you can see me kind of moving around and saying, am I going to put it on the orange? Am I going to put it on the black? Am I going to put it on the berries? Most of the time, I was able to work out a way that meant that I created something that was a little different to the others, and I didn't create 4 exactly the same. With this one here, this was an interesting one because I really love the butterflies, but I just happened to turn over the paper, and the way that it had been cut, it had this script and then these really gorgeous flowers, or these really gorgeous sort of plants and leaves with some butterflies floating around. And the way it was captured was just perfect. So rather than use the rows of butterflies, I flipped it and used that really gorgeous pattern design instead. So that one was an absolute happy accident. Here I'm running through and I'm saying, okay, now that I've completed the panels, I've completed the base for the panels, I am going through and I am adding sentiments. Now, I'm going through this really, really fast. So if you put it at half speed, you could probably watch a little bit more closely. But all I am doing is gluing together the components to make the final cards. And in some instances, I've used the fussy cutout elements that were from the inside and the back of the pattern paper pad. And this bunny and this little squirrel were from that, which is really cool. I really love how you don't waste any paper with these paper pads. I think it's a cool thing that would be really great for other manufacturers to do. With this one here, I used some things from a pack from, I think it was Uniquely Creative. I don't know what it's called, but it's kind of a steampunk style ephemera pack. And so I used a couple of those when I was putting the cards together, and in particular, the butterflies. Now, the butterfly itself is not a perfect match. It's got a little bit of blue in it, but there's no blue in the pattern paper. It didn't matter. The card ended up looking super, super cute, and the tones were so muted that it worked together just fine. Now, with the rest of these, I'm using some of these. These are Queen & Company sentiments. And so I just have these in my stash from when I was doing some previous cards. And because of the size of them, they really give you the opportunity to add something to the card without needing to add lots of ephemera pieces. And working through this, it was a little bit tricky with some of the designs to figure out how do I not add any more complexity, or how do I add a small element without feeling like I'm putting things on a strange angle. The other thing to mention is that this card sketch is one from Kendra's Card Challenge number 18. And so there are some details below on Cards by Kendra, and Crafty Al and Cards by Kendra have collaborated on this sketch for January 2026. So it's great to see that also. If you're enjoying the video, it would be great if you could hit the like button. That is how YouTube shares it to more viewers. There's links below to everything that you might need. And I have put some links here to some other videos that I think you might enjoy. Have a great day.